hot summer day. We have refreshments. Hannah's got ice cream. And we are hyped up because we just got back from a very, very awesome time at the movies.
Oh, yeah.
So what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, all you wonderful people listening in? Welcome back to the General Geekery podcast.
Woo!
Sorry, I wanted to make sure you didn't get, like, brain freeze or something.
Well, I mean, I did, but that doesn't stop me from making noise.
Fair. This is the podcast, of course, where we geek out about all that we love to geek out about with no remorse.
No regrets.
And with all of the enthusiasm in the world.
Indeed.
As always, we are your lovely hosts of this fun, chill little podcast. I am your resident coffee ninja by day, actor, gamer, and streamer by night, Donald Kaczynski. Joining me, as always, she is our resident artiste extraordinaire, dice slinger magnificent, and our expert video game inept. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Hannah Kubiak.
Hello there.
You had to go off with that one. Fair.
I did.
I mean, it does kind of lead into like what we're talking about today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are here to talk about the Disney Plus series Obi Wan Kenobi. We are back with another Star Wars-centric episode, and we are in a very Star Wars mood, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
The day that we're recording this podcast, we just got back from a local movie theater that Hannah and I both live near. They're doing the original trilogy of Star Wars this month, which neither Hannah or I have seen the original trilogy on the big screen, so it seemed like a good excuse to go see them. I mean, any time is a good excuse to go see like a movie, but Star Wars specifically.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it was great.
It was, it's something that's been on my bucket list for years. And I've never been able to go see it in theaters whenever it was in theaters, but scratch that off the bucket list, and now I can't wait for Empire.
Nice. Yeah, I'm truly excited about Empire. But it's interesting that we are talking about Kenobi today, because I think watching A New Hope right at like the day after finishing watching Kenobi, as I did, because I always do everything at the last minute.
I kind of did. I did too. So we're both fresh on this.
So it was interesting. Doing those back to back, because even though Kenobi is like a prequel thing, it's not necessarily like obviously they hadn't had like this kind of stuff all thought out when in A New Hope they had the lightsaber duel between Darth Vader and Obi Wan and everything, but it was interesting because I was like, this it's like watching the continuation of the story, like right after I watched the most recent occurrence in this saga, you know. So that was kind of cool, and I couldn't help but see like some parallels with stuff that I thought was really interesting, and I don't know, just my movie maker and storyteller brain was very happy.
Firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, so some backstory. Kenobi was Obi Wan Kenobi series was thought about as far back as like when like Mandalorian season 2 was announced. I think it was originally planned to be like a movie at one point, which they did bring. They were already planning on bringing back a lot of the actors from the prequel trilogy. Most notably Ewan McGregor. I'm so glad they brought him back as Obi Wan Kenobi, and Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, and they brought back a lot of the other actors. Like they brought back the actors of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru from the prequel trilogy, and several other Bail Organa. Yep. I found that to be really nice. I'm like, yes. Just as I was as shocked to see him and happy to see him in Obi-Wan Kenobi as I was when he was in Rogue One.
Right.
That was a good surprise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. And I don't know. I love sort of stories about like hermits and stuff, people who go off into isolation and such, you know, I'm a Catholic. Those people who go off into the desert are very near and dear to my heart. It's like, oh yes, I go off into the desert and I am alone for years, you know.
It's
and then I am
time for a pilgrimage
to hone my spiritual skills and stuff. So, Although that's not really what Obi-Wan was doing, but
Right.
he was kind of just hiding for his life. But
well, I mean, there were several reasons why he was hiding in that planet specifically. But before we get into the series, like a lot of there's some backstory before like the series was released. Obviously, before Dave Filoni and many of the other people that are like heading like this new generation of like Star Wars with all these different series like Bad Batch, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett came about, and even before like the Clone Wars animated series, all there were the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy in terms of like on-screen presence for Star Wars. Without counting like the numerous spin-off media from like video games, audiobooks, comics, everything like that.
Don't forget the Christmas special.
Yeah, the Christmas special. I made a reference to that while we were watching the movie, and Hannah looked directly at me and said, "We don't talk about that."
What is the holiday called?
The Star Wars holiday special.
No, what is the holiday called? Earth Day?
Happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day.
It's officially canon thanks to Mandalorian's Episode 1.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's technically canon.
But no, we
So.
don't talk about Life Day.
No, we can talk about Life Day. We just don't talk about Chewie's extended family, aka his son Itchy.
Oh, man. It's Itchy, yeah.
I believe Itchy is the son.
Yep.
Yeah. But I lost my train of thought there for a second.
Okay.
But so the original, like the 6 episodes with the prequel trilogy and of course the original trilogy kind of laid out like a full-out story, and it left this big gap in between the time of the prequel trilogy and the time of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
A big gap to be explored.
Yeah. Like a 19-year gap, right? 19, 20 years.
Something. Yeah, 19, 20 years, roughly.
Roughly.
That was meant to be explored. The only other series that really explored around that time frame in between was Rebels, for the most part. So, now that Dave Filoni and crew have like taken over, like expanding like the canon for Star Wars, and we've had all this different media released as of late, there was a lot of hype for Kenobi. And if you guys actually go back to the last Star Wars episode we had talking about Boba Fett, when we were talking with Evan Braun and Jennifer Fosters about like what our hopes were for Obi Wan Kenobi, I haven't actually gone back and listened to our assumptions on that because I wanted to come into this completely fresh without like past bias.
Yeah. I don't even remember what we talked about there, but yeah, I'm so happy that they got like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back, because I feel like Hayden Christensen gets a lot of flack for like the prequel movies, but like
everybody
yeah,
did.
exactly, but like I feel like it was something that the fandom really wanted was to like see him in something again, you know. Especially like. Because a lot of it is was direction as well, you know. Because like I've seen him in other things, and he's good. He's a good actor. And
he even in the prequel trilogy with episodes 2 and especially episode 3, he has a lot of great moments.
Yeah. Like he did what he could with what he had, basically.
Exactly. Like the opera house scene, I think is like from episode 3. I think it's like one of the best scenes from like the prequel trilogy. The silent moment between. With him in the Jedi Temple and Padme like in their home, where it's just like no talking and like it's just their emotive faces. I think that was like another great moment of like Christensen's acting. And the thing is, with Kenobi, we get to see Christensen in like 2 different lights, as Vader and as like young Anakin, Padawan.
Yeah,
Anakin, based on his haircut because he
with
had
his his little braid.
Yeah, the braid of the Padawan.
Yeah. And, that was a really cool episode as well. When it was, like, the one where, Obi-Wan was with all those, refugees, and they were under siege, basically, by Vader and his crew, and it was sort of doing a little parallel between, like, their sort of duel that they had, and how well Kenobi knows him, and how he's just, like, basically, he's like, yeah, no, he's not patient enough for a siege. He's just going to try and, like, explode this place as quickly as possible, because he won't want to wait, because he is impetuous and rash and impatient. And yeah, I loved that, the whole, yeah. Because you know that I am a glutton for those kind of like character building things. Where you're like, oh my gosh, he knows him so well. He used to be his teacher, and now he has to take him down. Yeah. So I loved that episode particularly, and let me think here. Do we want to talk about Leia? Little Leia?
Oh, yeah, we should probably, because this is technically like a two-person act. Well,
yeah.
Starting with we're introduced to like our two main players in like the very first episode. One, of course, is Obi-Wan, and we see him in a much different light in this first episode, and it's this series in general, than I think we get in like all of the rest of the canon, because when people say the name Obi Wan Kenobi,
yeah.
like whether you're thinking of young Obi Wan as Ewan McGregor or Alec Guinness as the old wiser Obi Wan Kenobi, even James Arnold Taylor voicing him in like the extended media in Clone Wars, you think of this like basically the poster child of what it means to be like a Jedi.
Yeah, right. Like like just always trusts in the Force, and trusts in and knows what he has to do, knows what the right thing to do is.
Yeah.
And I think that in this series, and in Kenobi, when they show him in the very beginning when he's on Tatooine, he's been there for a long time, and there's he has there's this other young Jedi who's doing good in the town and everything, and Obi-Wan just wants to help him to survive, but he can't, because he has to stay and protect Luke, who's he's nearby, so that just in case Luke needs him, basically. And there's it's a bigger purpose kind of thing, where it's I really want to help you, and I really want to be a Jedi, and I know that you're going to tell me that I am sort of turning my back on my mission, basically, but you don't understand. I have another mission, and my mission requires me to stay alive.
Well, not only that, but his mission to stay alive is honestly kind of we see it's not only it's all in a big way. It's true. He's protecting one of the Skywalker twins, but at the same time, he's kind of using it as a crutch, because as we see in that first episode, he's in a real rut. He's closed off from the Force. At the end of episode 3, Yoda apparently teaches Obi-Wan how to communicate with his former master Qui-Gon Jinn while he's in exile on Tatooine, but as we see,
he can't contact him.
He can't.
Yeah.
He's...
Yeah, just, I guess, too much in despair, too just mentally and emotionally crippled.
PTSD.
By just, because that's horrible. You have this whole, you live through a war, and then you're basically your best friend, your student, your son, basically, just becomes everything that you tried to teach him.
You were my brother, Anakin.
Becomes everything that you tried to teach him not to be, and then he basically destroyed your home and the rest of your family, and then you had to kill him yourself. And then he goes off into the desert thinking that the job is done, and then he realizes that Anakin's not dead. Which really that was ridiculous too, when he first realized that this Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker. And it's just the horror and kind of the horror.
Well, to be fair, in the 10 years that, because it's been 10 years since the end of the Clone Wars at the time that this series takes place.
Yeah.
He's basically shut himself off on Tatooine. Like, he hears whispers and stuff from, like, the Empire and stuff like that, but he believes that Darth Vader has been defeated because he knows that Anakin went by the name of Darth Vader because of, like, everything that happened at the Jedi Temple and the holocron hologram showcase with Palpatine.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So, all of this, because they know his name is Vader, but he doesn't know that he survived. He never knew that he survived.
Gotcha. And that he became this, the Sith Lord in black.
And the moment in Episode 2 when the fifth sister, eventually, who's basically like the leading antagonistic force in this series.
What was her name? Reva?
Reva.
Yeah.
Reva, whichever. But confronts him, and he's hiding. He's ready to engage her, and she drops the bombshell that Anakin Skywalker is alive. Specifically saying Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, it's like, how? Yeah.
And
that's something that we'll leave the audience to discover is how she knows that. But
we may go into spoiler territory, but we'll let people know spoilers when we get to that. But,
yeah.
And we see that the guilt that he feels has been intensified because he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
He's now been in pain all these years.
Yeah, but having killed his friend and then his friend is still alive, and that's almost worse because of what Anakin has become.
Yeah.
But
and we get to see what he has become. The glimpse.
Oh my gosh, the glimpse.
So to let our listeners know, if you haven't seen Kenobi yet, if you have seen the ending of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, specifically the Darth Vader scene at the end, where that was possibly one of the greatest on-screen representations of Vader, we get more of that in this show.
Yeah.
And
the scary Darth Vader walking down the hallway, just destroying people left and right without even using his lightsaber. Like, there was that whole where he was fighting the fifth sister, and she's like coming at him with her lightsaber, just like just a big ball of rage just coming at him, and he's not even using his lightsaber. He's just like dodge, step aside, use the force, shove her away. You know, it was like oh my gosh, you're just toying with her.
Oh
gosh.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Yeah, and what was it? There was one more thing I was gonna say. And then just the fact that Obi Wan didn't use the Force at all, like the first couple of episodes. There was one glimpse in Episode 2, but you could tell it was taking its toll on him because it was muscles that he had not used in so long. Yeah, was that when he and Leia were on the rooftops?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, let's talk about little Leia.
Oh my gosh.
So, okay, I have to bring up this comment that we had with the other people that we play D&D with on Loaded Dice Adventures, because I think it was either Pat or Tony.
It was Pat.
It was Pat who said it, because he was talking about the early episodes of Kenobi and mentioned Leia specifically. Supposedly, both Leia and Luke are 10 years old in this. We don't get to see much of Luke except for the last episode.
Yeah.
But we get to see a lot of Leia. Leia is one of the two central characters of this show. And
that kid, she carries it though.
She carries it, and I can definitely see her as the young version of who would be known as the space mom of the galaxy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But is it just me, or does she seem younger than 10?
Well, yeah, she does. It's a stretch to say that she's 10, but
they even joke about it in there. I'm 10. You don't sound like you're 10.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess I didn't mind, honestly, because I think basically kids get older,
Yeah.
If they're going to have more series with her in it, she'll grow into it. And also, I would rather have a kid who looks a little bit too young, who's an excellent actor, than a kid who's the right age who isn't really there.
Right. It's basically like it's the theater mindset that you have to basically like suspend your disbelief, like, and all that. The only thing that took it out of it for me was the moment like in like one of like the second to last episodes or something like that when she's holding Kenobi's hand and he holds her hand back and you just see like how big his fingers are compared to hers. How big his fingers are compared to hers. I'm like, okay, those are not, that is not the bone structure of a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
That kind of took me out of the moment for a second, but I'm like, Donald, just shut up, shut your brain off.
Yeah.
I know it's 2 a.m. You're cranky, you're tired. Just shut up.
Yeah, but. She definitely had that kind of self-assurance and that kind of sass that you see in Carrie Fisher, in A New Hope. Somebody has to save our skins. Like that moment where whoever it was, they were trying to get like the blast doors to open so they could fly the ship away. And they're like, "You go up into that vent. Do you think I'm gonna fit in that vent?" And she doesn't even say she'll do it. She just like starts walking over. She's like, "I'm gonna need a ladder." And you're like, "Oh my gosh."
I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Like, okay.
And I'm like, yep. That's our Leia. That's our Leia, all right.
Yeah. And just the fact that like she says that, she's like, I'm gonna need a ladder.
And then so many people
everyone's like, no, yeah, and everyone's like, and some of the people are like, what? Like, what's this kid saying? And Obi Wan is like, well, I trust her, so
Yeah.
Like she's a child, but she's kind of ahead of her time, age wise. It's like
And also to the people that I've heard like comment about this series that like she, like her vocabulary is like way too broad and everything like that for someone her age. She was raised by a senator, a person in power, a person with power and like nobility and stuff like that. Of course, she would have like a different like vocabulary than like your average 10-year-old.
Yeah, and it just reminded me of this funny thing, and also seeing A New Hope reminded me of this. Basically, it was like, all right, so. When Leia was 19, she was like smuggling the plans to the enemy space station right out from underneath the enemy's nose, leading a rebellion, basically.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
Yeah, basically just straight face lying to the Sith Lord about what kind of mission she's on and stuff. Just like, leading this rebellion. And then you've got Luke, and he's sitting there, he's got the little, like, plane things, like,
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, like, could not be differenter, these two.
Night and day doesn't even begin to... Twin day and one night is basically the best description of that.
Yeah, it was just like, alright, like, because he was raised as a farm boy, and,
right.
he's skilled, but I wouldn't say that he's overly intelligent,
And actually, a funny thing about that, and I'm glad we saw this tonight when we saw it in A New Hope.
Well, the little plane thing that he's playing with, like Obi Wan Kenobi, he gave it to him.
That was really nice. That, and also we got the fact that we got to see more of Lars and Beru in Obi-Wan.
Owen.
And Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Yeah, that's right. The Lars family. Oh man, like, because you only get like a small amount of screen time with them, like in both the original trilogy and in like, of course, the prequel trilogy. But having that kind of like juxtaposition with Kenobi, like in the time that they see each other, because they only Owen and Kenobi only have like 2 different interactions like throughout this 6-episode series, but in those 2 interactions, you get the how they feel about each other, where their stances are, and it carries that weight all the way into A New Hope, because the scene in A New Hope and when it's the dinner scene where Luke is like talking with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. And,
Yes, the green milk scene.
yeah, and Owen's just dismissing like everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And watching Kenobi before that, and like seeing all that Owen is doing to protect Luke and hiding the truth from him, and I see that, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely see it.
Yeah, like he's like he's your own. He's like, yeah, he is my own.
I do have to say, like, the plot. So, all right. Before we go on with like too much, we do have to talk about one of the other ones. We have to talk about the fifth sister, aka Reva. Which can I say? I'm so happy that we have the Inquisitors in live action from Rebels. That was so nice.
Who played them? I swear, some of them looked familiar, but it was hard to tell. Because I enjoyed seeing the Inquisitors as well. I kind of wondered when the High Inquisitor particularly was going to show up, because like I remember the first time I watched Rebels, and like I think maybe because he was voiced by what's his name?
The Grand Inquisitor's voice?
Yeah. Oh gosh, what was his name? The guy.
Hold on, I'm bringing it up.
Anyway, the guy who played Lucius Malfoy in
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs, yeah. He was voiced by Jason Isaacs and just had that sort of like that sort of spidery smarminess, you know. And he also just every time he showed up, it was like bad news, you know. I think the first time I saw Rebels, I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like every time this person shows up, it's just like, what's gonna happen? Like,
I mean, also
it's
Jason Isaacs.
Yes, yeah, and like every time he showed up, I would get really excited because I was like, there's gonna be a lightsaber duel, and there's gonna have that propeller one, which was very interesting. But
I was also glad that we also got Fifth Brother in there. Like, I love his design so much.
Yeah, with his you call it his hat with the his really giant helmet.
His overly sized space fedora. Yeah. Let's call it that.
The space fedora.
Cad Bane had a better fedora there. No. He had a Stetson.
Yep. It was a huge cowboy hat. Oh man. But did you find the people or no?
I found one of them. I found the actor who did the Grand Inquisitor for Rupert Friend.
Okay. I do not recognize him right off the bat.
Yep. He's done a lot more short films.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So there's that. The Fifth Brother, Sun Kang.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh man.
What in the world? Oh, he was Han Lu in the Fast and the Furious series.
Oh, okay.
Okay, him I know. And then third sister, aka Reva, is Moses Ingram is the actress's name.
Okay.
She's a fairly newer one. Oh, she was in she was Lady Macduff in one of the Coen Brothers adaptation of Macbeth.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, she was
the Denzel Washington.
Yeah, that version of Mackers.
Oh wow!
I still haven't seen that yet.
I haven't either. Oh man.
We might need to check that out later.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. But yes, very exciting. I enjoyed this show for the most part.
Vivian Lyra Blair is the name of the actress who portrayed Leia Organa in Obi Wan. She actually is 10 years old now.
She is? Actually, now she is.
As of June 4th, 2022, she is 10 years old.
Aww.
So she was around maybe 9-ish around the time of shooting and production.
Yeah, so not much younger.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah. But I don't know. I just love it when you see a good child actor, you know?
You don't get too many of those.
You don't get too many of them. Yeah, and it was a delight.
Like, the only other thing that I've seen, like, good child actors in, like, I mean, obviously Stranger Things, but then that cast is primarily portrayed of, like, 80%, like, child actors, was, like, Stephen King's It.
Yeah,
chapter,
that was pretty good.
Like, the first chapter. And also, a few of them were originally from Stranger Things,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Yeah. What's his name? I don't remember the character's name, but the one who's like, you are always getting us into trouble. We had to go here, and now I gotta kill this fucking clown.
Does not smell like caca to me, senor.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, so good. And, what was I gonna say? But,
What did you think?
What did I think of what?
What you thought? Whenever you get that laugh, it's when you
Oh no, it's because I said and then I went shh.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. He's vague.
See, yeah.
So let's talk about like the main antagonistic force. Let's talk about the third sister, aka Reva. Now, this is someone new. This is someone we've never encountered before in the canon. A member of the Inquisitors, and it kind of ties back. Spoiler alert for those that have not seen Kenobi yet. Please skip this point if you have not seen Kenobi, and then come back if you have seen Kenobi.
She kind of had the same sort of energy as Asajj Ventress, just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like really intense, really angry, you know, kind of Sith apprentice kind of vibes.
Right.
Like, there's a certain kind of energy that these Sith apprentices have where it's like there's something kind of unique about the I guess the pressures upon them by their masters. There's like failure is not an option, and so you have to be
specifically
ruthless.
Vader.
Yeah, you have to be ruthless, and you have to be, because he gave her an option. He was like, you will solve this problem, and if you fail, I'm going to kill you, and if you succeed, you get to be Grand Inquisitor. And it's like, wow, you know?
Yeah, and then when it looks like that she's failed, and Vader comes in, and one of the few scenes where James Earl Jones as Darth Vader shouts. There are very few moments in all of Star Wars where Darth Vader in James Earl Jones's voice actually shouts in anger.
Yeah.
We saw one to two examples of it in like the beginning of New Hope.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
I want them alive.
I want them alive.
But when he comes in screaming and starts force choking her.
Oh gosh, yeah. You know, and then the fact that she also keeps her cool. It's like, this is probably a normal Tuesday for her.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. But it also kind of portrays like the very few times we see Vader shout. I mean, what's the old adage? The powerful have no need to shout.
Yes, exactly. Like, what's more scary? I say this to my acting students all the time when they start to just like yell all of their lines. I'm like, what's scarier when you say, "I'm gonna kill you," or when you're like, "I'm gonna kill you"? You know, it's like which is scarier?
That's actually a very good thing.
It's like, the person who screams and shouts, they're gonna come at you with a baseball bat, but you'll see them coming. But the person who says it like really quietly, they're gonna cut your throat in your sleep. Like, you know?
And that's on a good day.
Yeah. You will never see them coming.
Oh, the fun of being an actor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Just a man-eater. Yeah.
But again, spoiler alert, guys. As we find out, because this was a bit confusing, like upon like the first episode read through, is that at the beginning, we're put right in the middle of Order 66 at the Jedi Temple, and so we're thinking like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What's happening?
That was so sad. I think maybe it's because I've been a teacher for like almost a year now, but like I think about that sometimes. I'm like, what would I do if like this building got attacked while I was here teaching? Like, what would I do? And so like that whole sequence where it's that Jedi Master and she's trying to like usher her kids out into like to safety, and then also fight off all of these. And
if I'm not mistaken, I gotta go back and like check it out, but I think it was like a continuous shot.
It seemed, I think so, yeah. And then the little kid, they're so little, and like they're like trying to run away, and
yeah, with all the clone troopers just like blasting at them.
All the clone troopers are blasting at them, and she's like.
And then when she dies, and like they're running away, and the camera pans out, and you just see the entire temple like just being attacked, and people dying in flame, while Palpatine's voice just keeps repeating, "Execute Order 66."
Oh man!
I was shell shocked. I'm like. That's a hell of a cold open.
Yeah. Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah, it's very good. And so yeah, you kind of think. I mean, you kind of think, why did they start with that? You know, which you can kind of understand it because that's sort of where like Anakin finally sort of made clear that he was legitimately like completely dark side. You know.
And we don't get that until episode 5 when Kenobi tries to reason with Reva, and he deduces that she was one of the younglings, the Padawans that was there the night of Order 66, where we actually get to see Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader killing younglings.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I did not think that
you don't just see the little boy coming out and be like, hello, what's going on? And then the lightsaber.
No, you're put in the middle of it. Like, it's hazy.
Exactly.
But it still doesn't change the fact that you're put in the middle of it through Reva's perspective, and you're just like...
This little cutie with her braids. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like,
and you just see... Oh,
man. Yeah, and I loved her sort of character arc as well, where basically I think so why did she go after Luke at the end? Was it to was it like revenge on Vader, like I'll kill his children, you know, and that'll be my
more
revenge, I'll be my justice. Yeah.
Yes, more or less, yes.
There was that whole sequence where she's chasing after Luke, and she's gonna kill him, and then when she finally he falls down into this ravine, and he's just lying there, and she's like looking at this little boy, and she's got her lightsaber, and she's like thinking about killing him, and she's like, oh my gosh, like you can see like through the cinematography and how they went like flashing back and forth between like her and Anakin at Order 66 and everything. You're like, and it's like, oh my gosh, here I am about to do exactly the same thing as him, to kill younglings.
Have I become
Yeah, exactly.
him?
It's like where she's like, oh my gosh, I'm like one swing of my lightsaber away from slaughtering younglings like he did.
Which ultimately she does not.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. And the fact that like she and even that didn't really help her to I guess fully accept the fact that she wasn't all and completely like him, you know.
Yeah.
Like Obi Wan tried to tell her that. He was like you're not like him. You chose not to be. You know. And that was really cool.
Yeah. It was that last episode was such a roller coaster ride.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because you had that, and then the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. With all the stuff like throwing rocks and things, and
just Vader, especially at the beginning of the fight, Vader using the Force to like manipulate the area around him and basically cause a collapse underneath Kenobi. I'm like, this is the Vader that I want.
Yeah. Oh, and then
to quote Kylo Ren from Episode 8, The Last Jedi, more.
More. Yeah. And okay, so and I loved that, and just sort of like when Obi-Wan finally starts using the Force to its full potential again, like I was like, there we go. Like I was like, oh yeah, my man, these Sorasu wielders and their sheer focus and power with the Force as well. Like,
that might be the best Obi-Wan we've seen in a while. Like since Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't count the twin sons duel because that wasn't really a force.
No, it wasn't really a force.
That was a force duel. That was more of a battle of wit with lightsabers. So
yeah, but like, whew, yeah.
Oh, and then the ending monologue with the half-cut mask with Christensen under heavy makeup under there. That was it was
and it kind
perfect.
of was flickering back and forth between like Hayden Christensen as Anakin, and then the James Earl Jones voice with the other half of the
I
mask.
found that modulation to be so good.
It was so creepy.
And it actually kind of like ties off like things that people had irksome with like the original trilogy was the fact that so what I told you about Vader destroying your father was true from a certain point of view. Was because that was how Kenobi viewed it.
Yeah.
Like what happened to me was not your fault. I was the one who killed Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
The same way that I will destroy you.
Yeah.
Then my friend is truly dead. And he just... And... So, one thing at first, what I found irksome was that Kenobi basically left Vader, and it's like, you have him right there. You can end this. You can end this!
It's not the way. I think he was like, probably, you know what it was like, I already killed Anakin once and I can't do it again.
Yeah. Like, and also it's like, this was sleep-deprived Donald at the moment, like, thinking about it, but now that time has passed and I'm thinking about it more clearly, that was never who Obi-Wan...
No, yeah, he wasn't really...
He was a protector. He's not one who sucked out for revenge. And
Sorasu, all the way. Sorasu.
And striking down Vader like that.
It wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have.
It would not have changed what happened, and because he was still in such a vulnerable point in his life, where his belief in his mission was shaking. He kept having all these moments of like doubt about himself and who he was as a Jedi.
Yeah.
He could have possibly turned to the dark side.
Yeah.
Is how I interpreted it.
Yeah, just the
which ties back into like what he told Reva on Tatooine. Like, you chose not to become him.
Yeah.
Which I think also parallels like what Kenobi was feeling like in those last few episodes, especially with the journey that he went on, because seeing how all these different people that are non-Force users like helping the Jedi, and he's like, no, you should not have to do this. I am not worth protecting. Y'all are worth protecting.
Yeah. You know what it reminded me of is, again, I'm going to get a little bit religious here.
Go ahead. Religion and Star Wars, like the parallels go hand in hand. So please.
The parallels have always existed for me in this. But, okay, so there was a war in Mexico in the 1920s called the Cristero War, where basically the government outlawed Catholicism and made all the priests leave the country, and no one was allowed to go to church, no one was allowed to like practice their religion at all or anything. And this war was so infamous that in like schools in Mexico, children were not taught about it. Like, there were people who would come like from Mexico, they'd go to America, and they'd be talking to people, and they'd say, oh yeah, like the Cristero War would come up, and they're like, what are you talking about? The Cristero War? Like, what was that? But what it was basically was a bunch of Catholics started an army to basically like fight the government for their right to practice their religion freely again. Right. And there's this and basically like priests were told to leave the country, but a lot of them didn't. They stayed. They stayed for the people, and so they had they had church underground in like catacombs, kind of like in ancient Rome as well.
Right.
And like church in the catacombs. They people would smuggle the priests around, and they'd like make little compartments for them, like smuggling compartments for them, like in people's houses, like under the floorboards, kind of, yeah. kind of like Inglourious Bastards as well. You have your Jews on your floorboards. And so there was that whole Cristero War thing. And there's a movie that was made like probably a decade ago now called For Greater Glory, which was about this war. And there was this scene where this little Mexican boy who later became like part of the Cristero army, he was at the church when the parish priest, who was from England, played by Peter O'Toole, when this guy was basically dragged out of his church out onto the street and shot, you know. And
Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, and so that's what the sort of, I guess, the Underground Railroad for Jedi reminded me of, was like all of these people who for these priests and what they represented, they were willing to risk death. And another movie, this actually connects because Adam Driver was in it. Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield played these two priests from Portugal who went to Japan to minister to the Catholics there, and Catholicism was also illegal there. And there were literally scenes where basically the two of them, the village hid them in this shed, and there was this moment where somebody from the Empire or whatever came, and they were like, we know that there are priests in this village, and you're going to give them to us now, or we're going to kill one of you every single hour. And so like there's this whole debate between Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield about, we should just go down there and turn ourselves in and let them kill us, because they're killing like all these people who are giving up their lives so that we can be safe and continue to be there to care for their families, like spiritually and like everything. And it was so sad, like so that's what it reminded me of as well. Was and it was ridiculous. The movie was called Silence.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was about to say, why do I feel like I've heard that of this movie's existence?
It was so good. I cried so much.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that both Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver are fantastic actors, I can imagine so.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah.
And saying that like this happened in Japan and everything like that, I'm like,
it was brutal.
I was like, I can probably think of like the point in history like where that probably took place.
Yeah, there was a scene where they were like up in the mountains, watching, as like 3 people from the village were crucified, like, and then the crosses like put into the ocean, so then they were like the waves were coming at them, and like they basically suffocated and drowned. Like it was so dark. But yeah, just like the things that people will do for what they believe, and like the incredible bravery. But anyway,
no, it's okay. That represents like a lot of like what the rebellion stood for, especially like the introduction of the path in the Kenobi series, and especially through the character Tala.
Yeah.
Oh man, we didn't get so much time with her, but for the amount of time that we got, wow, that was great. Like a former, a still active member of the Imperial Army, choosing to side of the rebellion because of what had happened and like what she witnessed.
That was amazing. Yeah.
And it shows that like there were people that were in like the military, and not everyone that served the Empire agreed with it.
Yeah.
It's something that's reflected upon like a lot of other like spin-off Star Wars media and audiobooks.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that the creative team behind Star Wars right now is taking more from those kinds of stories in order to create more of a not so much of a black and white kind of like universe as the movies came out to be at times.
Yeah.
But a bit more along the lines of like deep thinking, especially when it comes to like the non-gifted, like the non-force sensitive.
Yeah. The normal people.
Which
Yeah.
Yes, I will absolutely explore more of like the universe from a non-Force perspective.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite moments in there was when Kenobi was on Dioe in order trying to find I think I was the planet trying to find Leia, and he comes across the aged drunken clone trooper. spare some credits for a veteran in need of some food. And you could just see that Kenobi in Ewan McGregor's face, disgust, frustration, and just sorrow.
Yeah, because it's like it wasn't all the clones. It wasn't their fault. They had it. They were mind controlled.
Can you imagine if that was Commander Cody?
Oh wow!
If they somehow went that extra step in order to show that was Commander Cody.
What if it was?
Oh jeez.
Oh.
I need to look back at that.
Cody. Okay, I have one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, it really touched me at the end, when Obi Wan and Leia talk before he leaves, and because she had asked him, did you know my parents? And he had said no, I didn't, Yeah. And then he tells her, I did know your parents, and he says something like, you are kind-hearted and caring, and these are things that you inherited from your mother. And then he also said something like, you are passionate and forthright, and something else.
Yeah, forthright was the big one that came up.
Yeah, he's like, and these are
traits that
these
you
are
gained
gifts.
from your father.
These are gifts from your father.
Yep.
And I just loved that, because it would have been so easy to right. Beru says about Luke, he's got too much of his father in him, and Owen's like, that's what I'm afraid of. It's like, if you tell a kid that they're just like their parents in all the bad ways, then that's what's going to come out in them.
Right.
Is the bad stuff that you emphasize all the time. Don't hammer into your children the bad legacies that they have. Tell them about the good legacies, because there's good in everybody.
Right. Well,
even if they turn to the dark side, they started with some light, and that light can be passed on, even if your own light is extinguished.
Well, I don't think that Owen actually knows that Luke was Anakin was Vader, because he was told by Obi-Wan that Anakin died. Which Obi-Wan still believed at the time, and I don't think he told Owen or Beru that information.
Oh, wow.
Now that I think about it.
Huh, maybe. Yeah, maybe it was just his father was a rebel and a risk taker and a warrior, and got himself killed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Cool. Okay. But
above all of that, yeah, you are right. The final message that we are left with, with Leia, it builds perfectly into A New Hope, but it also kind of gives a new layer to the plea message that she made in New Hope. Oh, help me, Obi Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. So that adds a new layer to that scene from the original movie.
Yeah.
And also it kind of helps us move on and see how Obi-Wan takes the step to the wise old man that we see him in both Rebels and in the original movie.
Yeah.
As he moves out to the Junlin Wastes and comes across Qui-Gon, which I have to say, wow, I can't believe they brought back Liam Neeson. That was great.
Yeah.
What kept you?
That he was finally able to see him. He was finally ready to...
he was finally ready
to move forward. I wasn't going to say move on, but move forward.
That's probably the best way to describe it. And that's pretty much Kenobi.
Yeah.
It's nothing that's I don't want them to continue this. I think a solid 6-episode isolated like little miniseries.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
It's fine just the way it is. Would I love to see more stuff from like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen in this universe? Possibly, but we don't need it.
Yeah, no, we don't need it. But
I think from what we got from the 6 episodes is closure and some much needed redemption from the actors who portrayed these classic characters in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Especially given like a chance to like shine with people that know how to write for Star Wars and have a passion for it. Like honestly, the dialogue between Obi-Wan and Anakin in the flashback duel might be some of like Anakin's best dialogue.
It was good. That was one of my favorite episodes, like I said, was the going back and forth between their duel when he was a Padawan and then their sort of duel during the shortest siege in the galaxy. Oh man, but
perfect.
So good.
So that pretty much brings us to an end about our analysis on Kenobi.
I had more to say than I thought I would, but then again, I always do.
Well, I mean, seeing A New Hope again before like recording this and like having like these like new like lines that we can interlace with it really helped fire off the synapses in the brain. So that was more than helpful for this. We were originally going to record this episode before we went to go see New Hope in at the movies, but things worked out, so we had to see it. We had to record this after seeing it, which
we did not decide to record it after seeing it because I drank too much beer. We definitely didn't do that.
Accidents happen, but overall, like I'm glad it worked out this way because I think we got a much more layered and interesting conversation about drawing these parallels.
Yep.
And
when I tipsily texted you that it's probably gonna be pretty cool to talk about Kenobi after seeing A New Hope, I was only partially making excuses.
Oh, Faye. Hannah, never change.
Oh yeah, no.
Anyway, guys, I think we can leave you off with that. Any final closing thoughts?
No.
All
Not really.
right.
Just remember the strengths and remember the light you have inherited.
Mm-hmm. Quite. Guys, thank you so much for listening in. This has been episode 119 of General Geekery, a new Star Wars Talk episode. Talking all about Obi Wan Kenobi. If you guys like what you have been listening to us, please make sure to give us a follow wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you guys want to listen to all the episodes in its chronological order, you can find the entire playlist available on my YouTube channel at MA Rep Productions. Click the link in the description to go just check all that out. If you guys want to support us and help us continue in all of our other projects, including the podcast, our Nepticon Twitch series, as well as other stuff coming in the future, please consider donating to either our Patreon or our Coffee page. I have some ideas in store for when we reach like specific things for Patreon and Coffee, so more news on that when we get to that.
Yep. I really should be more attentive to the Patreon. Like, I had this whole plan, man.
We'll get on it.
Yeah.
We'll get on it. No worries.
Yeah.
Also, if you guys want to follow us, you can check us out on social media at Gen Geek Podcast on Twitter and at General Geekery on Instagram. You guys can check me out on social media at Coffee Ninja Ryu at twitch.tv/Coffee Ninja Ryu and Ryuzaki MK7 on Instagram. You can find Hannah out on Instagram at Pythian Legume, as well as check out her DeviantArt. No, not DeviantArt. What am I saying?
DeviantArt. Yeah.
DeviantArt?
Yeah.
Her DeviantArt page, the link of which is in the description of this episode.
Yes.
And you can also check us out.
Because saying it out loud will not clue you in on how to spell it at all.
And you guys can also check us out on Loaded Dice Adventures Mondays and Wednesdays on twitch.tv/Loaded Dice Adventures, playing some D&D and rolling dice in the land of Avenaria in 2 different timelines.
Yep.
Go check that out. Once again, guys, thank you for joining us for General Geekery again, episode 119. For Hannah Kubiak, I'm Donald Kaczynski, and until next time, guys, may the Force be with you. Always. And always remember to keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink, clink.
Like,
There we go. Bye, guys.
do you think they'll know that was just a spoon in a thermos?